Hello and welcome to Pockenrop. In today's video, something of a companion piece to my rundown ranking every single Paul McCartney single, I am going to do my top 15 Paul McCartney B-sides. I use the ranking engine of the website PubMeeple to develop my lists. There will be a link in the description if you want to go and rank any of your own stuff on that. Before I go any further, I'll just remind you to like the video, subscribe and hit the bell to receive notifications of future content. So at number 15, I have placed from 1973 I Lie Around, which was the B-side to Live and Let Die. This is a great little track. It was originally slated to be part of the Red Rose Speedway double album and got cut and then relegated to the B-side of Live and Let Die. I think it's actually a pretty strong track. I can't recall if I included it on my Red Rose Raceway fantasy version of the album, but I think it's a really strong B-side track. Number 14, I have placed Loveliest Thing, which is a 12-inch B-side from the Figure of Eight single from 1989. The Figure of Eight single itself was a re-recording and is actually better than the one that's on Flowers in the Dirt. But then you've got this really good B-side of Loveliest Thing, which you can get on the Flowers in the Dirt 1993 remaster. And that's the first place I heard it. It's a really, really fine B-side. It's maybe a bit schmaltzy, but it's good. And actually, I think it was better than some of the tracks on Flowers in the Dirt. And so maybe I'll do a Flowers in the Dirt reimagined at some point in the future. Number 13 is the B-side to the awful single Mary Had a Little Lamb, twee beyond belief, and it's Little Woman Love. It was recorded as part of the Ram sessions. It's by no means Ram quality, but it's a really good, buzzy, happy-go-lucky kind of song. It's the first on this list that I would say is comfortably better than its A-side. Little Woman Love. At number 12, I have placed the B-side to my favourite Paul McCartney single, which is My Brave Face, and it is 1989's Flying to My Home, a song that really should have been on Flowers in the Dirt. It's a really fine B-side. It may be a little bit odd vocally, but for me, it charts the journey from Press to Play to Flowers in the Dirt, and it's kind of like a bit of a staging post. It's a really good song and was actually the first McCartney B-side that I owned because I bought My Brave Face as my first ever McCartney single in 1989. Number 11 is a Wings track that didn't see the light of day until 1990 when it was one of two Wings tracks included on the B-sides to Put It There and It's Same Time Next Year from 1978. This involved the final Wings lineup and I think it's one of McCartney's great lost gems. It's a really nice song. It should have been part of the film Same Time Next Year, but it was turned down because it gave away too much of the plot, apparently. Same Time Next Year, one of the B-sides to the 12-inch of Put It There. It's my number 11. At number 10, I have placed what I think is McCartney's best political song, and it's Long Leather Coat, which he co-wrote with Linda. The first time Linda gets a co-writing credit since Wings the Speed of Sound, which I did a ranking video of last week. Long Leather Coat is a great rocking track. It tells a coherent story. It tells a clever story. It fits in with their long-term vegetarianism and their animal rights movement, and doesn't feel forced in the same way that Looking for Changes from the Off the Ground album feels forced. This would have been better on Off the Ground, and Looking for Changes shoved on the B-side of the Hope of Deliverance single from 1993. Long Leather Coat, great song. My number 10. Number 9, I have placed the B-side to the 1982 single, Take It Away, and it's I'll Give You a Ring. This had been knocking around in McCartney's back catalogue, possible songs that he might do or might not do, since 1974. There's a demo on the Backyard tape. which shows how long it had been bubbling away. And it's just a joyful song about love and marriage. It's a good, bouncy, fun pop song about getting married. I'm going to give you a ring. I'm playing with the words of ring for phone call as well as ring for one of these things. I'll Give You a Ring is my number 9. At number 8, I've placed the other great B-side from the 1982 Tug of War album collection, and it's Rainclouds. This was the B-side to Ebony and Ivory, the number 1 smash hit single. Now, there's some debate, it seems, about who wrote this. On the 2015 reissue of Tug of War, McCartney has sole credit, but it has always been a co-write credit before that between McCartney and Denny Laine. It surprises me that he would give Denny a co-composership credit, given the fact that they'd parted ways and it hadn't been entirely amicable, and then remove it over 30 years later. But it's a fine song, and I know some people would think it's better than its A-side. I don't agree. I think Ebony and Ivory is a great song, but Rainclouds was a really good B-side, and actually wouldn't have been out of place on Tug of War, especially if that had turned out to be a Wings album. At number 7, I have placed Sally G, which was the B-side to 1974's Junior's Farm. Sally G is a great country song. I think this is one of the really good lost McCartney songs that deserves a little bit more credit. If I was in the United States, this wouldn't be on this list. This was because McCartney flipped the record to get further play and interest in Sally G and actually managed to get it to number 17 in the chart. Great B-side though, recorded in Nashville, total country, really enjoyable song. At number 6, I have placed a throwaway, something that he literally put together in an attempt to just test some stuff out, because it's called Check My Machine, which was the B-side to Waterfalls from the McCartney 2 era. It is literally what its title is. He had just got a new machine to do recording on, and he did this Check My Machine, and it's really good. Better than most of McCartney 2, in my opinion. And actually, whilst Waterfalls is a pretty well constructed song, I actually think Check My Machine outstrips its A-side too. So Check My Machine at number 6. And number 5 is another of those rejected from Red Rose Speedway songs. It is Country Dreamer. And again, I think this song outstrips its A-side, which is Helen Wheels, which I've never really cared for. Country Dreamer is a great song. I know I included it on my Red Rose Raceway as being one of his best early to mid 70s songs. Country Dreamer is fantastic. And wouldn't it be great? He's just announced a new tour in the US. And please, Paul, if you ever see this, or anyone from your company does, please come and play in the UK again. But wouldn't it be great if he included Country Dreamer in one of his sets? What a beautiful deep cut. Number 5. And number 4, I've placed the B-side to his debut single, Another Day. It is Oh Woman, Oh Why. Recorded during the Ram era, and for all we know, could well have been on Ram were it not for the fact that these 2 tracks were pulled for the single. Another Day is a fine song. Oh Woman, Oh Why is an incredible song. It is so unlike what you expect to hear from McCartney. Is it a murder rock song? I don't know. But Oh Woman, Oh Why has got some aggression. It's got some bite. It's got a sound of a gun in it. And it suggests that this fella's murdered his partner. Oh, really, really unusual and great McCartney song. And number 3, I've placed another thing that got rejected from Red Rose Speedway and would probably, for me, have been its finest track. It finally came out in 1990 as another B-side, to put it there, Mama's Little Girl. The fact that this sublime acoustic song was shelved for 17 years boggles my mind. It's brilliant. This is better than Put It There, only just because Put It There is also beautiful acoustic. It's a great song. This is, and I mean this with my heart, this is White Album quality. Really is. Fantastic track. Mama's Little Girl, the B-side to Put It There from 1989, but recorded in 1972. And number 2 is a track that I think is far better than its A-side. Now, its A-side was a number 5 hit single and is Goodnight Tonight. The B-side is Daytime, Nighttime Suffering. This should have been on Back to the Egg. And I know at some point I will be doing a reimagined about Back to the Egg and all of the music from that. It will be on that version of Back to the Egg. It's a brilliant B-side. And I think Paul himself has said that he thinks this was a mistake not to include and possibly his favourite B-side. Phenomenal song, better than its A-side by some distance for me. Daytime, Nighttime Suffering at number 2. And finally at number 1. This is in my top 10 McCartney songs of all time. It's the first evidence of his collaboration with Elvis Costello that would ultimately lead to My Brave Face, which is again in my top 10 McCartney songs of all time. And it's the B-side to Once Upon a Long Ago, which never got released in the US. It is Back on My Feet. So if you're watching this in the United States, first of all, hello. Second of all, find a way of hearing Back on My Feet. It is phenomenal. Now, this would not have made a good single. So whilst I think it's far better than its A-side, it wouldn't have been a great single at all. But it is a phenomenal track. It's available on the 1993 Paul McCartney Collection edition of Flowers in the Dirt, which is where I've got it. And that CD, and that CD alone, is the reason why I did not purchase the archive edition that came out in 2016, because I like Back on My Feet too much, and I need a copy of that in my life. Fantastic song. My number 1 Paul McCartney B-side of his entire career so far. So that concludes my top 15 Paul McCartney B-sides. If you want to know what I think of every single one of his A or AA sides, then go back and watch the Paul McCartney singles video that I did a few months back. I'll be back in a week with a new video. But until then, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends, and I'll see you in a week.